in my country, anyone younger than 40, anyone younger than 40 years old has not seen Nigeria work.
And that can be said of a lot of countries.
Okay. So the point is this. They don't know what a good country, a good leadership what is.
You tell me, what is it? What is it? What's a working country? And tell me one.
No, I can only see this. Okay. Now, right now, my friend who lives in Egypt, he was around last weekend. He says Egypt is doing a lot better. I don't know. Okay. Now, what we see, we look at Rwanda, blah, blah, blah. Another friend of mine has his own issue with the tenure of the president and all that. Okay. So maybe what we all see is Rwanda. See, but Rwanda is one tiny place in the middle of East Africa. The big countries we have in our continent, Nigeria, Egypt, Ethiopia, South Africa, Algeria, are not working.
In the world, let's go worldwide. Who's working?
Okay. I made a video about Singapore. My video and my personal channel. Singapore, at least it was already is having a few problems. Okay. The Nordic countries are working. Okay. In the Middle East, the Emirates is working. Saudi Arabia itself is working. Okay. America.
What is working? What is the definition of working?
Okay. Now, see, this is the difficulty. See, I say it's working because of what we see, the infrastructure, this shining thing that people can go to the country, have holidays, but because they are liquid, their countries are liquid, and they can spend a large amount of money building infrastructure, paying the citizens. But the question I ask is this: how many of their citizens are gainfully employed
or engaged?
Engaged to sustain all. See, because the majority of the people who have helped them build all the infrastructure are foreigners. Okay, so do they intend to continue having this large amount of foreigners to help them maintain all the things they built? Okay, I've heard some things from people who live there. Okay, some good, some bad. But see, so the point is this. In fact, we need to sit down and say, what is the criteria for a working country? Okay. Now, you ask me that question now, I'm struggling to yeah. Because I look at this and they are different. So there's no one criteria, list of criteria to say this is what a country that is working is. Now, UK, I live here. I wouldn't say UK is working very well. I wouldn't say that. In fact,
that's why I asked the question, to say there isn't a single definition of what is a working country. And I think the world over, we may be even hard-pressed to find 10 working countries, depending on what lines you are looking at. And working for who is also the question. And who is judging, in fact? Who is asking the question? You see, it takes us down a rabbit hole. When other countries say Africa doesn't work or Africa is poor or whatever, who's asking the question and where are they standing? What is the yardstick they're using for measuring? I would much rather start it from a hierarchy of needs, if we will.
Yeah.
If you take a country, and if we take even Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in the first rung, that first band, are those needs secured? Right? So each country is on hopefully on a continuum of growth. There are others that have been circling in the same place for decades. You said, if someone is under 40 in Nigeria, they've not seen Nigeria work. But the question would be, what was a working Nigeria? Because what seemed to be working then may not be acceptable today as being called working.
Well,
right?
Back then, for example, we have constant electricity in the cities. Right now, the city, you can't even have 12 hours of electricity.
Exactly.
That's it. I mean, something.
That's why I'm saying that we have to look at working on a continuum of needs. So firstly, are the basics secured? If a country is running around the world talking about mega deals and this and that, the other, but there isn't security of basic needs in that economy, then they're masquerading way outside the area of focus that they need to be. When a country has secured one rung or those basic needs, they can move and progress into the next rung of needs or of aspirations until they get to a self-actualization or position. And oftentimes what we see is people trying to jump levels. They want to self-actualize and all of that, but the basic needs are not taken care of.
Well, the
as long as you have the majority. Sorry?
Security is the lowest basic need. And
yes, security, quality of life, the basics today, they should be nowhere in the world where electricity is an issue or a challenge, because the options are more now than they ever were before, especially on the continent. The opportunities are great for us in as far as what we can do, but it's an issue of prioritization. It's a matter of prioritization. What are the national priorities of the country? Are we bringing in leaders that are leading with their stomachs, or are we bringing in leaders that are leading with a national desire? Takes us back to the demand and supply issue. We don't demand better, we get what we get.
I agree with you. See, I can sit down with you, continue hashing out all those things, asking more questions, yeah.